Let's talk about events and intervals. So what exactly do I mean when I say these? So when you're doing time interval analysis, an event is sort of the start and stop points. And then the interval is a time in between either an event until that event happens again, or in between a pair of events. In a time interval analyzer, you need to be able to specify what counts as an event. So you have some input into your device, you adjust the threshold level when the voltage hits a certain threshold, and whether it's a rising or falling edge, you can specify what counts as an event by altering those parameters. So for example, on the right here, let's say I have some kind of periodic signal going into my detector, and let's just like a simple pulse sequence or something. So I can configure, I can say, okay, event A is when the input voltage hits 0.5 volts on a rising edge. And I'm going to specify another event called event B, which is when you hit 0.5 volts, but on a falling edge. And so I can specify my interval to be either A to A, A to B, B to B, whichever, any combination of these two events that I want. And the reason that you need this flexibility is because these different intervals will measure different information about the system. So, measuring A to A would tell me the frequency with which my pulses are arriving at my detector, whereas measuring A to B would tell me the width of the pulse. And if, depending on which is the important parameter, I need to be able to switch, the flexibility to measure either of those. These events don't need to be all on the same channel. So in the example on the bottom right, you could have event A be a certain threshold on the first input channel, and then you could have event B hitting the same threshold but on channel 2. And this would allow you to measure the time correlation between events on different channels. So this is an important and probably the most essential function of a time interval analyzer, to be able to measure these intervals accurately and precisely and flexibly like this.